Hey everyone, thank you for coming. For those of you who were here for my last speech, this one is going to be a little bit different, not so formal. This is a more personal topic and less about informing you than it is about relating. My goal is not to rattle off a bunch of facts, but to have you consider the possibilities of what people are capable of in the world, both for good and for ill, and hopefully you will decide to act accordingly. I care more about what you think about any facts that I might present than the manner in which I present them, and so I hope that if any teachers are watching, they don't grade down for that. Alright, so I'm going to begin by taking a page from Randy Pausch, who is an excellent lecturer and human, basically. Today we will start by outlining what I won't be talking about. Here's a list of things that are more important than the speech I'm giving right now. Safety and contentment of your family and loved ones. Basically, this takes precedence over anything that I might talk about today. It's, kind of the number one thing for everybody. Roof over your head. If you, or if any of you, are concerned with making sure that you have the essentials covered on a month-by-month basis, then the most you're going to be able to take from this speech is a grain of salt. Causes with which you have a personal interest via life experience or ideological understanding. Basically, that means that if you already have something that moves you and you feel a connection with, if it's happened to you personally, or if your moral code best represents something else, then that should come before anything that I might happen to say. So perhaps I'll sway you, perhaps not, but at the end of the day, a thought process that ends with an action on its behalf, regardless of what the thought process was, is good enough for me. Okay, so basic human rights. What are they and why should you care? I can give you Amnesty International's textbook definition, but I would rather just say this. On December 10th of this year, the world celebrated the 60th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which was adopted by the United Nations in 1948. Here is a sampling of the text. This is a couple of the articles in the preamble, but I've highlighted some words here in bold font that you guys should take a look at. Inherent dignity, inalienable rights, freedom, equality, reason, life, liberty, security, freedom of thought and religion, public or private manifestation of that religion. Basically, I'm kind of summing up there. But basically, these are the very ideals that our country was founded on. They are the reason we are so proud our children and ourselves have the opportunity to be called citizens of the United States of America. This is what we believe in. We stand for it. We die for it. And our founding fathers wrote it down centuries ago to begin anew, to break from what was stale and intrinsically unjust. And so the question is, if you believe this ideology is a blessing for the children of America, then why wouldn't you consider that every child, or every human for that matter, is entitled to strive for the same basic liberty? The United Nations believed it in 1948, and the continual struggle to implement basic human rights is the credo of Amnesty International today. Amnesty International is just that, international. They concern themselves with the plight of any individual, group, or country whose basic civil liberties have been stripped or infringed upon. This can encompass acid burning, for example, in Pakistan and in Afghanistan prevalently, which is still not nationally outlawed in either country. Child soldiers in mercenary armies in Sierra Leone. That was a picture taken back in 1996. Many of these children have seen relatives raped or, mutilated if they don't comply and go with the armies, and are intentionally fed highly addictive drugs such as crystal meth or cocaine in order to keep them in line and to keep them compliant and to keep them coming back to the armies. Also, they concern themselves with the torture of prisoners at the now infamous Guantanamo Bay U.S. military facility, a facility that occasionally detains suspects without charging them for any criminal offense and uses sensory deprivation techniques as seen here, and various forms of humiliation and torture. The Declaration of Human Rights is an ideology. It may not ever be achieved, and that's the kind of the plain, stark truth. But does this mean we should ever stop trying? Apathy is insidious, because many of us have no idea that we are afflicted, and because it supplants real, human, heart-wrenching stories with vague statistics and numbers, and labels. Put that in there too. But if you could better one's individual circumstances, wouldn't you do it? These pictures reflect what Amnesty International stands for. The ideal is an end to human indignity across the globe, but the reality is one life, one day at a time. In the pictures that you see here, the top woman has been given reconstructive surgery after acid burning, several different operations, and now she actually helms a local outreach program to help women who have been similarly afflicted. That's her with her son. The man on the bottom left has been reunited with his family, that's his sister, after 9 years of forcibly serving in a Sierra Leone mercenary squad. And the man on the right, who's pictured with his 2 young sons, was recently released from Guantanamo Bay. But there are many men still like him in there. I'm sorry, give me one moment. There we go. There are many men still like him in there. They've been kidnapped by local warlord factions, but not because they're terrorists, but because they can actually garner a cash payout from the United States just by saying that they are, you know, a terrorist supporter. Alright, in closing, I don't want you guys to order activist kits and run door to door, you know, in your neighborhoods, screaming about all the wrongs occurring in countries far, far away from here. But what I do want you to do is take a look at the pictures and consider the causes that I showed you and the effect that Amnesty International can have. The fact that they give second chances, which is something that, you know, nobody in the world can buy. And the fact that they're directly involved. And then you would be too, by extent. So think about it, then perhaps act on it. Go to their website, spend a few minutes browsing it. And then, you know, maybe go over the donation sections, order an activist kit so you don't have to, again, run screaming. Just read a little bit more. And then smile and then go on about your business. Because, after all, 'tis the season. It's free. Thank you, guys.